And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, lots of different accounts, a lot of different places. Make sure you hit the like, share, retweet, subscribe, follow button wherever you're watching, and make sure you drop your comments, questions. As we get set, we talk a little bit about the Farmers Insurance and some other different golf content that we want to cover today. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, at Bearded Knowledge on social media. And we got my partner, as always, Jason Sullivan, at JSully2121. How you doing this evening, Jason?
Dude, I'm good. I got some breaking news for you. I told you pre-show I wanted to save this for the show. So I was looking on YouTube for some of our past shows. I was actually looking for a specific show. And I came across that there's a live golf podcast that is now called Fairway to Heaven.
Oh.
Sons of bitches.
Really? When did this podcast start?
I don't know. This year, for sure. But I don't know exactly when. But
I think we called them out on that.
The subscribers or the subscription page, whatever, is Live Golf. So it has like 296,000 followers or something like that. However, clearly a new name. And they copied our name. Sons of bitches.
I have some. Remember when we started the DFS football show? And literally we were 6 months into it and someone called us out on that. And we had to go through a process of changing the name we just canceled the show after a little while. But, man, I'm a little disappointed in that there.
So there's two outcomes the way I'm looking at it. Either A, the Saudi money can come our way, maybe some sort of offer, or 100%. B, they just behead us and we're all screwed. So
that's true. It's a fair point. They could just behead us. My God.
Sorry,
I didn't know what we were going to talk about today. We have just jumped off to a roaring start with talking about beheaded, Oh my God. It's good to know that people you should be flattered when people copy you, right?
I don't think they copied us really, but if they did
they do Fairway the number 2 Heaven or was it TO?
Yo.
So it's not necessarily fully copying. Her Twitter handle has the 2 in it, I don't know. I didn't know where that was going to go. You told me you had something surprise to tell me.
The best was
your face. I had no idea where that was going to go.
Well, pre-show, I tell Phil, I have something to tell you, but I want to break it live on the show. And Phil's face gets red, and he's like,
I was really legitly nervous on what you were going to say to me.
Like, it's not bad. It's golf-related.
Yeah. You should have said it's golf-related. That would have helped a little bit. That would have eased my pressure and stress there a little bit.
Sorry.
That's all right. Anyway, we got the Farmers Insurance Open this week, guys. We're going to break it down a little bit. But most people that watch this show, this is the one tournament a year that starts on Wednesday and has a Saturday finishing round. So a lot of people got their information already done. So we've got some different topics I want to cover today, as well as the basics of the Farmers Insurance. Jason, this is interesting for me. This is my chance to go 4 for 4. This is our 4th season. I have predicted the winner of the Farmers Insurance Open every single year we've done this show. I don't know why, but I have. I got Patrick Reed in 2021. I got Luke List in 2022. And I hit Max Homa last year in 2023. It's
impressive.
And I do it again is the question.
It's impressive because 2 of the 3 aren't guys that win all the time, really.
Exactly. So, I mean,
Homa,
Luke List hasn't won since then, has he?
Right. Homa was a little, that was a little more obvious, but the other 2 were out of nowhere pretty much. It's like, That's crazy.
I don't know. So I think people call me, and by people I mean I call myself this, the Farmers Insurance Whisperer. So we're hoping that I nailed it. I think I've got 5 pretty solid outright bets this week, but we'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to do our one and dones in a little bit and recap last week's, fantasy lineups, etc. But I want to start the show off a little different, and just get away from the DFS and gambling of golf a little bit. And Nick Dunlap, amateur, won last week at the American Express. I mean, jam-packed leaderboard. You had so many great names contending last week. And then this amateur, 20 years old, comes out and wins this event. And he gets a big, whopping $0 for his victory last week. And, all right, 5 years ago, whatever, that was the rules. But with the NIL rules and the way college sports allow their athletes to make money, and on top of it, all the things that the PGA is doing wrong right now in general, which is their coverage and the way they take care of their fans, something is wrong here. Because Nick Dunlap was in the field this week too, and he withdrew. He's done. Till he's done playing college ball, I kind of got the vibe from his comments that he's done. he's not going to play as an amateur anymore until he's done his collegiate career. Something's got to give here, right?
I think you brought up a good point with the NIL. You know what's funny is because the NIL, came into effect a couple of years ago, I actually had to ask our buddy Drew, friend of the show. I reached out to him because he knows all this kind of stuff, and I was like, do amateurs still not get paid? I said this Sunday to him. He's like, yep, big fat zero, which that really sucks. I mean, with NIL, they can get endorsement deals now. They can get all this stuff.
There's football players making millions of dollars right now.
They said that Marvin Harrison Jr. he declared for the draft, but they said before he declared that he could make between 25 and 30 million if he stayed in college.
Yeah, that's
in
insane.
1 year.
But yet Nick Dunlop gets zero. I mean, the PGA Tour is screwed. They do the worst coverage wise. Like so many of tournaments are not well covered outside of the Masters because they have their own app. The online coverage is terrible. Constant mistakes and glitches for a major organization. Obviously, the Live PGA Tour and Jay Moynihan, issues there. That's been spoken about plenty. Yet it seems like the PGA Tour can't get anything right now.
I wonder if this is PGA Tour related or if there's more to it. Like, I wonder if there's something with the NCAA. I don't know. I really don't know the answer.
Well, why would it be anything with the? I mean, you're letting the kids get paid,
right?
So maybe it's because it was won in a tournament versus a sponsorship.
Right.
If that's the case, American Express should just give him. It's not like last week's prize pool was huge. Like I think first place was only like $1.8 million. Right. American Express should just sponsor him and drop him $1 million or something like that.
You brought up a good point too. You texted me. You're like, what about the caddy too? 10% of zero is zero. Like that sucks.
100% of zero is zero. But the only thing I will say, I thought about it after I texted you that a lot of the amateurs, the people that are their caddies, are either their coaches or their dads or their brothers. People that aren't. I mean, sure they would like. I'm sure his coach would like some money, or I'm sure his dad wouldn't mind, or his brother wouldn't mind.
Or 180K wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. But still, like something is seriously wrong there, and it's just another check mark in the column of what's wrong with the PGA Tour. And I don't know. There's got to be a way around this NIL or this amateur not getting paid for golf thing.
You know what's funny is it seems like over and over we say this again. It's like guys who stay in the PGA.
Hold on, Mikey B in the house. What is up, my man? How you doing?
No, but it's funny. Like you see, I don't know. I think we always talk about like the only people that are getting screwed in this whole thing are people that are being loyal to the PGA, and we kind of see that again. It's like Dunlop's not a PGA Tour member yet, but he will be. Obviously, he's a good player. But I don't know. It just seems like the players are getting screwed.
It's not like he. What did I think I texted you or you texted me? Like a lot of golfers, never win on the PGA Tour.
Right. Hard to win.
B, only win. Like how many people only win once on the PGA Tour? That could have been Dunlop's one opportunity to win.
Yep.
He gets exempt into a lot of events from winning, and he still gets that. Like he's in the Masters. He's in all elevated events now and stuff like that. And I think he's got his tour card now because of that win locked up for next year if he wanted to, but still, the guy got $0 for it. I think it's a crime.
I forget what show it was that I was listening to today, but they were talking about the difference if he goes pro or stays as an amateur. So as an amateur, he is officially in, I believe, I want to say all of the majors next year.
That's possible.
If he turns pro, he loses his exemption for the U.S. Open because he's qualified as a U.S. amateur champion and also the Open. Wow. So technically, by turning pro, he loses exemptions to two majors. So that's interesting.
And you correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember if this is the exact thing. He can't declare himself professional in the middle of a tournament.
No,
he's got to do it before the tournament starts, right?
Well, I think that's why he took this week off because he's probably thinking about what he's going to do.
Okay,
right?
that maybe that is part of it. There, it's not like, oh shoot, I got a chance to win on Sunday. All right, you know what? Forget college. I'm turning pro today. You can't do that.
No,
that's crazy. It's just something that really irked me because I feel bad for the dude. Because again, athletes' careers are short. How many just golfers have we seen have their careers cut short by injury? Someone like David Duval, who had everything in front of him, won a major, back injury, done. Pretty much doesn't play anymore, except for his, one major a year.
Or a guy gets the yips, or you've seen like baseball players.
So much happens. Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's making big spots. Like, Ricky Fowler had a complete fall apart, in his career, but yet he still had the sponsorship deals coming.
Everybody loves him.
He still had commercial money coming in. got to give this guy a bone somehow.
Now he's got an interesting decision with the whole amateur thing too, because it's like, okay, if you stay amateur, you're in all 4 majors, right? However, you don't make any money. So
Yeah.
that's the flip side of it. So it's like everybody's like saying turn pro, and it's like that seems like the obvious, but it'll be interesting to see what he does.
And then there's the loyalty, and this kind of gets into all of college sports a little bit. It always irked me, but then I realized once I got older that I understand the financial impact of it. When in college bowl season, guys that are going into the draft, if it's not like the championship game, they just don't play in the draft.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or in the bowl game, but you're leaving your teammates hanging. If he
Right.
decides to declare pro right now, fall golf or the golf season for colleges is just getting started. He's basically got to decide: do I stick with my teammates
Right.
that have I've been
Right.
teammates with for how many years, or do I blow them off to go pro? Now I'm sure most of his teammates would be like, yeah,
Right.
go pro,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's a loyalty aspect to it as well. And the PGA
Right.
Tour we know is not loyal to anybody. Period. So
You gotta look out for yourself.
yeah, gotta always look out for who's number one. It's just something that really irks me. It really does, because it seems like every way we turn, the PGA Tour, which we love the PGA Tour because we love golf, does so much wrong, and they get so
Yep.
many things, so many simple things wrong on a regular basis.
Yep.
Oh well. Anyway, last week, obviously with the Amex, my one and done was Tom Kim. He missed the cut, so I got $0. Who was your one and done last week?
Listen, I lit the world on fire. I had Montgomery.
Oh,
He finished, I think, 63rd.
that was my
So he
fault
got
because
a
I've been off
whopping
Montgomery.
18.
I've been off Monty, and I went in with him last week because of you.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's my bad. My bad.
Hey, listen, hey, he made the cut.
So that was what,
Yeah.
18 grand. You got about what, like $115,000 lead in the one and dones this year with me.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah, $120,000 lead.
120,000. What is up, K1? How you doing? So farmers. Before I give you my one and done, because we're going to talk a little bit about the farmers insurance here. The farmers insurance. It's a tough course. Torrey Pines. It's one of those courses where it's super long, especially the South course, because you rotate the South and the North course on Wednesday and Thursday, and then play the South course on Friday and Saturday for round 3 and 4. Super super long South course, super tough. I forget who it was I saw was quoted today as saying the rough is insanely difficult this week. Um, if you think about it, outside of Luke List, the last couple winners of this event are all pretty elite winners. I think 9 of the last 15 were in the top 5 of the favorites on the board. You got to be somebody, and this is the way I look at it when I'm making my bets mainly, but also some of my lineups. For me to put a heavy investment in you this week at the Farmers Insurance, I'm looking at guys that are at least in contention at major tournaments.
100%. Cream rises to the top here.
Mhm.
I mean, it definitely does. And then there's also another set. I don't know if you saw this, but 13 of the last 15 winners here had a previous top 10 here. So it's another course where course history definitely matters. And not just course history, but have actually done well here.
Yeah.
That matters.
Michael wants to know, honest question: hit every golf bet you make for a month, or have the Lions win the Super Bowl?
Lions win the Super Bowl. 100%. No
Jason
question.
doesn't win. Jason doesn't hit on golf bets
Since
ever.
Mike
anyway.
hasn't seen it, he needs to see it right now. Brand new Lions. He needs to see it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I've already got a Super Bowl. I would take hitting it outright the next 4 weeks over the Lions winning the Super Bowl.
Listen, I've never even gotten. I got 2 playoff wins for the first time in 30 years.
Man, it's great. We'll talk a little Lions at the end of the show for sure. So when I look at this event, obviously it's the first non-birdie fest basically of the year, right? I mean, what was last week's winning number? 29 under or something like that? Yeah, you're not going to get that this week. I don't even care if it's perfect conditions. I mean, it's in San Diego, Torrey Pines, a legendary course. I know they got a lot of rain in the past week or something like that.
Rain. Yep.
Yeah, but I think the rain, the weather should be fine. Even in pristine conditions, 14, 15 under is the max you're going to get at an event like this. Outside of the distance, driving distance, everyone says is important, but I don't use it in my model this week because we've seen some mediocre hitters. Still, Max Homa is not the longest hitter. So what stats are you looking at and keying in? Because I know driving distance is important, but I was looking more tee to green. I was looking more for the plus 200 proximity, longer par 4, par 5 scoring. That's where I was looking versus driving distance this week because, again, Paul Reed's won this event. He's not the longest hitter. Max Homa, not the longest hitter. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Did you call him Paul Reed? Patrick
Did
Reed.
I say Paul Reed?
Yeah.
Dude, it's
No,
been a
no.
long day. It's
Listen.
been a long day.
So you kind of said it already. It's
I'm
a
still
teeter green.
stuck in Sixers mindset talking about B-ball Paul Reed. So,
It's a
something.
it's a teeter green week,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you've seen it like just in the past winters. You've seen Luke List. I mean, teeter green.
Mhm.
You see John Rahm teeter green. It's like this is definitely a teeter green week. Kind of same stats that you mentioned. Longer par fours, 450 to 500, proximity over 200 yards. And I threw in a good amount of around the green too. Small greens here, and you're going to have to. Your short game's going to have to be on.
Mhm. I actually because of that, because of the long distance and whatnot, I actually went for the first time ever. I either put around the green or short game in general, one or the other. Both of them made a small little appearance in my model this week because of how important that part of the game is. I can't want to say it feels like a Billy Horschel type week. Um,
It kind of
you know, I,
does. I'll be honest.
does it?
It does for me too. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know about that. He is not on my card at all, but you never know. Jason and I don't tend to agree in the end. Like we agree on this show a lot, but when you finally share your player pool with me and I share you, there's always so many
Yeah.
differences at the end of it all. Um, is there a way to judge? I mean, I know Fantasy National, fantasynational.com, best model making tools kind of in the business. Um, make sure you check them out. Is there a way to weigh players, success in major events in a model? Because that is something that I would want to add in this week.
Well, you can do the course comps. I mean, you can
Yeah.
pick the courses that they
Oh,
do.
US
That's
a
how I
lot some
did.
of those they bounce around the courses, the US Open, the PGA Championship, so that's kinda tough to do. I
Right.
don't know. There's
Well,
gotta be a
those are the
way
ones
to judge based off of majors because, I mean, if you look at my card, not everybody has won a major, but they're all guys that you would think could contend. Like, my biggest bet this week was on Hideki. Yeah, I know it's crazy to say Hideki, but Hideki at 55 to 1, obviously major champion. And I think we lost Jason there for a second. Oh, there he is. You were just staring so intently, I thought your
Oh,
screen had frozen there.
it probably did.
So, Hideki, Jason Day, Tony Finau, they were the names I zoned in on betting and at the top of my card. And of course, Max Homa, because he's the defending champion, guys that have either contended or won majors. That's where my eyes and clicks went first.
That's interesting. So I did something I don't usually do. I bet
Uh-oh.
on golf this week.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting. I kinda did I mean, I didn't really look at a lot of major success, but my biggest thing was who do I use at the top of the board? I
Mhm.
think the cream rises to the top, but it's like, who do you wanna cut out?
Well,
That's
the
the hard
cream at the top this week is Cantley, Xander. Oops, I just hit reset there. Cantley, Scheffler, Morikawa, and Homa. So where would you have where did you go out of those big guys?
For me, I took kind of the easy way out. I split between Xander, Morikawa, and Homa.
Okay. See, I skipped them all and just went right to Homa. I just put all my eggs in the top of the basket in Homa. I did not bet Max Homa this week, but I did want to have a lot of exposure to him. K1 asking dark horse Adam Schenk. I will say, K1, that Adam Schenk is in my DFS player pool. Not heavily, but I did put a few clicks on Adam Schenk in lineups this week.
He killed me last week. I put him in 7 out of 20 lineups last week, and he missed the cut.
Oh, geez. That's the
Jerk.
thing with DFS golf. It's, you know, you get burned once, you never want to go back to a guy, do you?
Right. You have to have a
That's
short memory. It
Yeah, you
golf
do.
is
Shit,
weird.
because that's Sam Burns. I mean,
Right.
I was literally about 4 to 5 times my money with 2 holes to play on Sunday for Sam Burns, and he went double bogey, and I didn't even break even last week because of that.
Hurts. It
It
hurts.
does hurt. So you got burned by Adam Schenk, you'll stay away. Me, I did give a little glimmer of him. Um,
It
can
seems like a
Max
course
Homa
that would fit him. It's interesting because I don't
Yeah.
think he has good course history here, but it's a
Well,
course that you think would fit him. I mean, he's got a good short game. You think around the green plays really strong, but I don't know. I think his
I
course
don't know.
history is really
Can
bad.
Max Homa defend his title here? we've seen people win here multiple times, but never back to back because of how tough the course is. Is this the type? Is Max Homa a good enough golfer in good enough form to come out and defend his crown?
I think he is. Sorry, Adam Shank, real quick. He has decent
Okay.
course history, not bad.
Okay.
But anyways,
I'm scared to
Homa,
click on anything on Fantasy National right now because I don't want to break the whole entire site again.
yeah. I think Homa's a stud. I mean, best U.S. player on the Ryder Cup team. Obviously, he's got 6 wins now. I think he's a star. I mean, he's already a star, but I think he's like a superstar in the making.
It's not just that he's a star, not just that he's won this event, not just that he's got potential to win a major. Almost every single one of his wins have come in California.
But his track record in California is either like a win or a miscut. It's really weird. Let me look at his
miscuts, but he's got a whole bunch of wins there as well.
From okay, this is from our buddy and sponsor, Fantasy Golf Pod, our buddy Chad over there. So his California track record over the past 3 years. I won't even say the tournament. I'm just going to say the finishing point. T7, miscut, second, win, 10th, miscut, win, 7th. So it's either like a top 7 or a miscut.
One of those miscuts was the U.S. Open.
True, correct.
All right, so you can give him a little bit of a break at the U.S. Open. It's not easy to win.
Another one was the Farmers.
Yeah, but he's won that.
2 of them are the U.S. Open and 1 was the Farmers. So,
so I'll give him a little bit of pass on the U.S. Open. But especially it is what it is. I like Max Homa. I didn't want to bet him because I think his number was like 11-1 or something like that. I just couldn't get behind 11-1 on Max Homa. If he hadn't won it last week, maybe, but I just couldn't. We don't got to go through the.
I have Homa in 7 of 20 lineups, so a pretty good chunk.
I got him in 8 of 20 lineups right now, and we still have one more lineup to build because we do build lineups and compete on this show. Just give me like from like 88 or 8,500 up. Give me like 2 or 3 plays that you really like. Because again, most people should have their lineups built by now. Most people should have their bets in. Lineups locked tomorrow morning instead of Thursday. There's no messing around tomorrow.
Nope. Thigala is my favorite play. I think he's 8,700.
That's where I got killed because he burned me, twice now already.
Oh, he's burned me a lot of times, but I like him. I like Keegan, but everybody likes Keegan, so it worries me big time. Look at that! Oh, look at that avatar. Put that back up.
Do you like that avatar?
Yeah, love it.
Oh man, my Detroit boys on screen and in the
there's
comments.
Only 2 of us. So.
There's only 2. I only know 2 people in Detroit, but it's you 2 right there. So, so Thigala, who else you got in that range?
I like Keegan a lot. It just worries me. Chalk Keegan makes me very, very nervous. I like him a lot, absolutely. And I like good old boy Sepp Straka, one of my favorites.
Actually, Keegan was the one that was complaining about the rough, I think.
Was he?
Yesterday or today in the practice round was complaining about how thick the rough is this week. It's worse than ever before, something like that, he said. Keegan, and who else did you say?
Sepp Straka.
Okay, Sepp Straka.
Love Sepp Straka, especially in tough fields and tough courses. I really love him.
Okay. I went with Homa, as we said. I'm big. Jason Day has won this event. Jason Day's got great course history. I know he misses some cuts just like Homa and stuff like that. Jason Day, Tony Finau, and he kills me all the time. But Hideki Matsuyama. Yep. And I'm just telling you right now, my one and done this week. You can write it down if you want now. You can wait till later. Hideki is my one and done this week because you might as well get on Hideki while he's healthy. Because at some point this year, Hideki's going to get hurt or miss a cut.
That back's going to flare up.
Get DQ'd or do something stupid or join live. I don't know. At some point, Hideki's going to be, out for a while. So I'm getting my Hideki love in now before the bad happens.
Hey, I'm all for it. I played 0 of him this week, but I'm all for it.
I got Hideki. Hideki was only in 6 out of 20 lineups. Tony Finau actually is in the most of my lineups. He's in 9 of 20. Normally, I have somebody in that 10 to 12 to 13 range. Finau capped me at 9, but that's because I had 3 guys with 8 clicks this week. So
I think Finau is the most interesting name based on his course history is amazing. Outside of Jason Day, his course history is probably the second best, right?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable record here, but hasn't been all that great for probably 3, 4, 5 months now at this point.
Yeah, was it like June or July the last time he was really, really kicking butt on the tour? But sometimes and I know this is overthinking things to an extent, but sometimes I feel that a course that you're comfortable with kind of can flip a switch.
Yeah,
You can't flip a switch in football or basketball and just instantly start, doing great. But in golf, sometimes a course fits a person's eye, and,
100%.
all of a sudden, I mean, look at Luke List. Luke List won here 2 years ago, and then he went on an awful tear. Like, I mean, he was missing cuts left and right. Then last year at this event, right back into the top 25 because this course fits him, his eye and stuff like that. I think this is the course that can get Tony Finau right. I mean, I put 90% of my
Mhm.
outright betting budget this week into Hideki, Finau, and Day. I had 2 other little $1 bets on other guys, but they're my 3 bets because I think course history, course fit, and the eye is perfect for all 3 of those guys.
Do we think this is a week that goes back to the good players winning? Because we've seen some long shots this year. Kirk was, I think, 150. Murray was what, like 400 to 1. Dunlop, I think, was 300 to 1, something like that.
I don't think so. I have one. So Hideki, to an extent, is my longest long shot I bet this week at 55 to
Who do
1.
you think
I
somebody
know
at the
Chad
50,000?
from Fantasy Golf Pod got him somewhere at 65 to 1. I don't know where he found 65 to 1 on Hideki. The next longest long shot I got is Harris English. And I don't know what made me jump on Harris English because 8,800 is a lot for Harris English on DraftKings, but 45 to 1 is not. So I don't know. That's the longest I went was Harris English and Hideki. I didn't go any higher than that on my betting.
Can you sell me on Harris English?
No, I can't because Harris English is the most boring golf.
No, I can't.
Like, what is there for me to tell you? Well, let me pull up his stats. But
Why
first
did you
and
bet it?
foremost,
Yes. What makes
nobody
you
on the
bet it?
PGA Tour wants Harris English to win this event.
Can I give you his course history the last 4 times he's played here?
No, I don't know.
Cut, 71, cut.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not
Oh,
even popping in my model this week.
you know what's funny? So I've heard a lot of people talk about him this week. You're not the first one, and I just wondered. I'm not trying to be an ass or anything.
No, he's 26 in my model. The only 2 stats that he's in the top 25 in my model is short game. He's 16th ranked in the field over the last 36 rounds, and he's the 6th best putter in the field. Outside of that, he's in the 50s to 90s in every other stat category. But I don't know. I got excited about it. I probably also, and again, I'm scared to click anything on Fantasy National, but let me click on ownership percentage for a second.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
It's 9%, I think, for English last time I looked.
8.4%
Yeah.
on Harris English at 8,800. I do, and I've talked about this before. I do really like looking at people's odds to their prices and when they don't match up. I think 45 to 1 at 8,800. It just doesn't seem right. I don't know. Harris English is the most boring golfer in the world, but he can plot his way through this. If it's a 10 underscore, 11 underscore, I think he can contend. Put him in 7 lineups this week at 8%. I mean, that's what you need. You need a guy with that lower percentage that rises to the top. I also, let me tell you this, and this is why there's a lot of weird names I clicked in the upper 7s and the low 8s and mid 8s. I do not have one guy below 7,200 in my player pool this week. And it was very hard to do that with the amount of usage of Day, Finau, and
Yep.
Homa that I used in my lineups this week.
I only have 2 guys below. Would you say 72?
Yeah, Ryder at Sam Ryder at 7,200 is the lowest guy. Well, and Smalley is 7,200 as well. That's as low as I went.
So I only have 2 guys below that, which is very low.
Yeah.
For me. So
Yeah.
you brought up a
I
really good
never
point. You kinda
completely
wanna touch on-
eliminated the 6K. I always try to add 1 or 2, into my pool. I did not do it this week at all.
You brought up a really good point a second ago. I don't even know if you really meant to, but looking at the odds board before you build your lineups, I think is so key. Vegas is smarter than all of us. We know this.
Yeah.
Look at guys that stick out. Look at guys in the pricing that are, like you said, have good odds, or you see like short odds, but then at the same time, like maybe they're underpriced.
Yeah.
That's a huge way to look at pricing versus odds.
And you know what? That's actually because I wanted to. You had asked me to bring up some of the things over the next couple of weeks that I've had a lot of success with Showdown single entries, and one of the things that I really firmly believe in is trusting your player pool. If you trust your player pool, look after round 1. If a guy struggles in round 1, watch that price drop massively for round 2. If you trust, I forget who it was last week, had a really bad round 1 or 2 weeks ago, because last week I went based off of, whoever was playing La Quinta as my showdown lineups, in round 2 and
This
round
week's gonna be
3.
the same too with the North
Yeah,
course.
exactly.
A little different.
I cashed on my round 4 last week on it because of another reason, but we'll get to that. I trust my player pool, without a doubt. And when I get to round 2, what I do is, which one of my favorite golfers had the worst round 1?
Yeah.
Because their price is going to drop, their ownership is going to plummet, and all of a sudden, if they do what you think they are capable
Right.
of doing, they're going to have a huge round. I had one guy 2 weeks ago go 7 under in round 2 or round 3, and his ownership was like 2%. But he was a guy that everyone was talking about all week long, but he had one really bad round
Yeah.
before that. And I think that's a really key thing on showdowns. Trust your research. Trust your guys. And if you have a good formula like that, I don't get into ownership percentages on a week-long thing, but in the showdown, you can nail ownership percentage. Somebody on Sunday, I forget who it was. I almost want to pull up my DraftKings lineup. I had someone on Sunday that was 0.01% owned in my showdown lineup, and he shot like 4 under par or something like that.
Was it Nick Dunlop?
No, it was not Nick
Did you
Dunlop.
did you play him last week?
No, I did not play Nick Dunlop last week. I did not. My history's not showing showdowns. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm clicking too many screens right now, and I'm really scared right now.
Fantasy
I got
National
too many
League.
tabs open on my screen right
Not
now.
only for you, but for me too.
Yeah, exactly. If I get cut off, you still are live. If I get cut off, just so you know, that means you have to talk by yourself for a minute.
Ooh,
If I ever got cut
a
off,
lot of-
yeah, exactly. That'd be the end of this show. There'll be like 4 new fairways to heaven started in like a week if that happens.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So much
But I
confidence.
do think it's important, if you do showdowns, trust your thing and
Yeah.
watch those prices plummet. There was a couple weeks ago where Scotty Scheffler was the highest priced guy for the week long. And then round 2 or 3, his price dropped to second or third highest because he had won like average round. It's so important to trust your lineup or your pool and look for those drops from players. Because odds are, if Max Homa has a terrible round 1 tomorrow, round 2, you just smash that play because he's not going to have most times back-to-back terrible rounds on the PGA Tour. Does that make
So
sense for my strategy
it,
there?
it makes 100%. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So I actually started. I stink at Showdown, right? So I didn't play much of it really ever until last year. I
Mhm.
started just taking your tip and just using guys that were in my player pool and just
Yep.
building lineups from there.
I-
Again, not even really looking at what they did the past round, just looking at, okay, this guy's price is good. I liked him before the week. Like, I don't care what he did in round 1. Let's see what he can do in round 2. Like,
I will say there's one exception to my rule of sticking to the player pool for the showdowns, and that's round 4. Because
Yeah.
round 4, I stick mostly to my player pool. And when I'm building my showdown lineup for round 4, I do one key thing. I never play who's in first place in my
right.
showdown for round 4. I look at who's in places 2, 3, 4, and 5. Who's got the best chance to overtake the lead? Who's
Yeah.
got the best chance to win? Because the person in first place is going to always have a 50% ownership or above in showdown lineups. The person in third or fourth place could be like 25%.
Right.
When a couple years ago, when I my only win in a showdown, I forget who it was. It was Will Zalatoris and somebody else. Will Zalatoris was in first place. He ended up finishing in second. The person that was in second ended up winning. He was in my showdown lineup, and he overtook it. There was about a 22% difference in ownership between Will Zalatoris and the other person, and that's massive.
Yeah.
So I always look at my player pool on round 4s, but I also look not just who's going to win, but I also look at, is there somebody in 60th place that can shoot 66 today and jump up 20 spots? The only difference on showdowns is on round 4, I look at who has the best chance to move up the board. And that's very, very,
Yeah.
I don't care about, if they're in 60th place, 40th place, or
Right.
first place. You got to stick to your player pool, but who's going to make the biggest move on round 4?
Yeah.
For round 2 and 3, it's your player pool that had the worst previous round, and that's who you stick to. And again, I don't win every single week in a showdown, but I'm constantly doubling, tripling, quadrupling my money every single week in showdowns. And I do just tend to stick to the single entries. I've thought about maybe dabbling and doing one of the 20 max entries for a showdown and seeing if this works over the course of 20 lineups or not. But these strategies have been lock solid for me in single entry showdowns.
Very, very interesting.
Does any of that not make sense, or
No,
you would
it
think
makes a
that
lot
there
of
should
sense.
be a tweak to it? Because again, I'm open to suggestions on how to tweak that, and I know I'm eliminating half the field, more than half the field by
Yeah.
sticking just to my player pool, but I trust the work I do on a weekly basis.
Right, exactly. That's the biggest thing. You're trusting your player pool that you spend all the time doing research the whole week. Why would you abandon that at the last second? So I
Yeah.
started doing that. I haven't cashed anything major, but I've been going from cashing not never at all to here and there, which is
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Yeah,
So
you just gotta, like I said, I hate ownership percentage. I think it's the most overrated thing in fantasy golf for the week-long things, but it does matter in showdowns because it's just the one shot and that's it. Um, and in round 2 and 3, you're not betting on who the winner is. In the
right,
week longs and in round 4 showdowns, you get points for place.
right,
But rounds 2 and 3, there's no points places.
right,
There's no points for the place. You know what I mean? So I don't
right.
care where they're. I'll take I couple times I'll take guys in 120th place in a showdown lineup. I don't care. I just want to see
Mhm.
who's going to get the lowest score that day.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right. With that, do you want to build a lineup?
Let's build a lineup.
Yeah.
One and done's and lineup.
Brought to you by our friends over at Fantasy Golf Pod. We build lineups. I don't even know how I did last week. I kind of forget.
Check out the Fantasy Golf Pod, though. I don't know what they're doing this week because it's a different kind of week, but
Yeah. They
Wednesday,
normally do Wednesdays at 4 p.m.
Wednesdays
right?
at about 4:15, 4:20. They
Mhm.
crack some beers. They hashtag
Yeah.
not experts. They just talk who they want to play, and they have a lot of success. Chad's on a heater right now.
I had a really bad lineup last week in the in that I built on the show. Yeah.
How many points did you have? 505.
505 points.
So you,
Another 4 out of 6 missed cut in this lineup.
I had 5 out of 6. Akshay Bhatia missed the cut. I had 637 points.
You are crushing me 2 weeks in a row in that.
Boom.
Crushing me in that. All right, so I went first last week, so that means you get to go first this week, right?
No. You lost, so you go first.
Ah, shit. All right, hold on. We got a couple other questions here. Good tip for just sports betting in general: stick to your method if you have one. If you constantly overthink, you're more likely to lose. And I think that is fantastic.
Hmm.
Trust your research, trust the work you do, or trust the people you listen to, like us or Mike. You know what I mean? When he's doing his college basketball or soccer, trust the people that you trust, or trust your system. It's the only way you're going to consistently win.
I think it's the same way
Round
for.
3 is my Sahith Theegala round. Is he
It's not
good in
just
round 3?
trusting the process and the system. I think not just for betting. I think for DraftKings too.
Yeah.
Trust what you spend a lot of time doing research, right? Or if you're like us, you spend a lot of time doing research. Trust your process.
Yeah.
Do the same thing every week.
Yeah, I far too often, because we're in our 4th season of doing this. Far too often, at first when we did this, we're still amateurs. Well, I am. You've won a GPP. I have not. So you're the professional. I'm the amateur. But we tweaked every week. It's like, oh, I didn't win this week. I'm changing everything I do. Oh,
Right.
stick to what works.
Yep.
And keep doing it. All right, so I've got to go first. So I'm just going to go for it right now. I'm going with Hideki. He's my one and done. The first pick in my lineup. He's got my biggest bet this week at 55 to 1. I'm all in on Hideki. So that's my
Love
first
to
pick,
see it. Hideki.
which
All
means
right,
he's missing the cut because of a hand injury or something like that, or a back injury.
I'm gonna go. I'm going Thigala for my
Thigala.
first pick. Yep.
K1 is very happy with your Thigala pick. All right, so I'm going to, let's see here. He asked for him. I said I like him, so I'm going to go Adam Schenk as my next lineup guy. Why not?
Shit,
Just,
like
just to
it.
make him happy.
I'm going big. I'm gonna go Xander.
Xander. See, again, like I said, I stayed away from Xander, Cantley, and Morikawa at the top this week. But Xander can easily contend or win this event without a doubt. So let's see here. Going
He's
down this, I
from.
got 8.
Isn't he from Torrey Pines or Torrey,
Is he?
whatever,
I must
whatever
have
the
missed
city's
that.
called, La Jolla? Yeah.
We're gonna go with former champion Luke List with my next pick.
List.
Again, I mean, I hit Luke List 70 or 75 to 1. And I told myself I'm not playing Luke List this year, is what I told myself last year. And he finished in the top 25. So you might as well.
So you're going
I
Boston.
only butcher Aqua Bowman's name and Abolina. Okay. Sahith Theegala. I got the golf names down, K1, just so you know. At least I think I do. Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
That's good. That's good. All right, my pick. I'm gonna go with your boy from last week. I'm going Shane Lowry, way underpriced.
Shane
This week.
Lowry, and there's a perfect case of getting burned by somebody. He was in literally 50% of my lineups last week, and he burned me. So
Him
yeah.
and Thigala are my two highest owned golfers this week.
Him and Thigala? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you got Lowry there. What was his price? I don't even have him on my board this week.
7,900. That's insane. On a tough course, insane.
Brutal. That is brutal. I don't have my notes in front of all my notes in front of me, but this guy right here popped for me this week.
Oh,
Rio,
yeah. This one,
His,
I don't even know how to say.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
I think it's
Rio
Hisatune or something, or Hisatune.
Hisatune? Okay, sure.
I think it's Hisatune or something like that.
I'm going with him. That's my 5th click on
Wait,
him.
hold on. Can you put that back up? Because I don't know how to spell it.
His Hisatsune.
I think it's Hisatune or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that.
Whatever.
I don't know.
He's good.
How do you feel about that one, K1? Hisatsune.
He's in. I have him in 5 lineups.
How about just Rio or Ryo?
We don't even know how to say his first name.
I don't even know how to say his first name. But you know what? I read up on him. He's actually a really solid player. He's actually done really well recently. 11th in the Amex, 30th, 18th, 9th. And his World Tour numbers are actually really, really, really good on the DP World Tour. So, you know, I like it. I like him. He's going to have a little showing here. I know he's never played Torrey Pines, but you know, we're gonna roll with it there.
I'm gonna go Ben Griffin. I'm gonna roll the
Ben Griffin. I thought about him. He was on my maybe player my player pool, and then he ended up getting no clicks for some reason. First time listener, first time caller. Is that what you want to say, Travis? There you go. Bet who I bet, and you will win some money, Travis. All right, so you want Ben Griffin? Yeah, 90. If I tell Travis to bet somebody, Travis will call. Travis probably doesn't have a DraftKings account. Travis probably has still an old school bookie, and he probably is going to call his bookie down by the docks to place his bets for this weekend.
Bet who Phil bets and play who I play on DraftKings. You'll be just
That's right. You got a GPP winner sitting next to me, and I hit outrights, except for I haven't hit one yet this year.
I hit outrights, except I don't hit them, but whatever.
Yeah, not this year, but I do otherwise. All right, so we're gonna go with Tony Finau as my next pick, and I think it gives away who I want with my next pick. But you know,
I don't have a lot of money to work with here, so I'm gonna have to be. Let me go with. I'm gonna go Ryan Fox. I tell people not to play him when he's chalk, but when he's not chalk, I'm gonna play him all day. Bomber coming from the DP World Tour. I like him.
Yeah, Ryan Fox is a guy. He was kind of in that maybe Montgomery group last year. Guys we thought were gonna break out, and then he just kind of played okay.
He plays in all the majors, and he gets way overhyped all the time.
Yeah. All right, and with my final pick, no surprise, left with just enough money for him, Jason Day. I'm super hyped that I was able to get Day, Finau, and Hideki in a lineup here tonight.
I'm torn what I want to do on this pick.
Update entry. Lineup is locked. Can't change it now.
What's your buddy that his name that liked Horschel?
K1.
K1. Doing this for you, buddy. Billy Ho.
Billy Ho? Is that what we're going to call him?
Yep.
K1's going to make a joke about that. Trust me. I don't know what the joke's going to be, but he's going to make a joke about Billy Ho now. Yes, I only bet. No, I mean, Hideki Matsuyama is not an easy name to say. I can pronounce Hideki's name perfectly.
Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah, I'm enunciating every syllable to prove. Okay. K1, just a little background, Jason. He watches the morning show Trending in the AM pretty much every day. And the Eagles traded for some tight end from Denver before the year started. I don't know what his name is. Albert O is what everyone in Eagles Nation calls him. No one can say his last name.
Yeah, I don't know.
I accidentally mispronounced his name, and it sounded something like Aqua Bowman when I said it. So now I've never lived it down. And about 2 months ago, we were talking about The Godfather, and I was very sick and very congested. And I said Apollina, the girl, his wife from Italy's name, a little wrong. And it wasn't my fault. It was simply that I was sick, and I can't live these things down.
I don't know. When you said the Godfather right there, my first thought was the wrestler, the guy that was the Godfather. I'm like, he had a daughter? I'm like, what?
Tiger Woods ain't playing, but Tiger will be playing soon. Genesis isn't too far off.
No,
When's
couple
Genesis?
weeks.
2-3 more weeks
2,
away?
3 weeks. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So Tiger's going to be ramping up. I can't wait to talk about Tiger. I cannot. Yeah, let's not talk football right now, Battlehawk. No football on this show. All right, so you got Tagala,
Except for at the end.
Xander, Lowry, Griffin, Fox, and Horschel.
Yep.
All right. I might build an extra lineup this week. And none of those guys are in my player pool, but make just one lineup. Just
None
for
of
that
those,
dude.
not a single one of those guys is in your player pool?
Not one of them is in my player
Not
pool this week.
Tagala?
Now, a few of them were in my what I always do is I always write like my top 35, 40 names down, and then I trim it down as I go.
So you're saying
Tagala and Lowry were in it.
favorited on Fantasy National, but not
Yeah,
entered in the line.
they're favorite. I start with the favorites, and then I start building from there
Yeah.
as the week goes on. So Tagala, actually Xander was favored for me too. I just didn't go that way. But yeah, I think we both got a pretty good pulse on this week's tournament. It's just gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I quite frankly, I hate the Wednesday start time. I really do.
I like it. I mean, it's
Do you?
hard for the start of the tournament, but I like
Yeah.
the Saturday end time when you have playoffs going on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just
Listen,
something about
This is the first time it's ever mattered to me as a football fan. I've never
that's
had
true.
playoffs
That's true.
before.
Because I'd rather watch Sunday, the final round of the Farmers Insurance Open,
Right.
than the Lions beat up on San Francisco.
Beat up.
What's the line on that game?
It was 4.5 last time I looked. I don't know what it is now.
4.5. All right. The Lions are favored by 4.5.
No. No.
Do the Lions win on Sunday?
It's actually 7 now.
Wow.
No, they don't win.
No? I mean, Green Bay pushed Brock Purdy and the 49ers pretty hard.
His defense is a lot better than the Lions defense, though. I think the Lions
Brock Purdy looked very mid in that game. Very mid.
I think,
and if it wasn't for one bad Jordan Love throw and a couple dropped interceptions from the Packers defense, you might be having a home championship game this weekend.
I know. It's insane. The 49ers
must be playing. Have they not ruled him out yet officially? I don't know.
It's questionable, I think, right now, but I agree. I think that's a big question. But how the hell are the Lions going to stop all those weapons?
Lions 30, Niners 17. Book it. I trust Mike. I might have to bet that exact.
He's way smarter than me, that's for sure. So
yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he's way smarter than all of us combined. So I like it. Lions. The only thing I'll say about this, Jason, and I don't want to disappoint you, and upset and hurt our friendship. If the Eagles aren't playing in the Super Bowl, I have one big rule. I root for who is going to make my pizza shop the busiest on Super Bowl Sunday. And out of all the Super Bowls, outside of the Eagles too, since my pizza shop's been open, the years that San Francisco are on the Super Bowl are always my busiest.
But you're talking about
San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl from like 6-7 years ago was my second busiest Super Bowl of all time.
As Stephen A. Smith said the other day, you're talking about America's team, America's new team, the Detroit Lions. The Lions.
Stop. They're not America's new team.
No,
you believe a word that Stephen A.
I think the casual fan that has no rooting interest is probably rooting for the Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. The entire city of Philadelphia is rooting for the Lions this week.
Yeah.
There's not a doubt about it. You know what I mean?
Their feel-good story.
Say the word Wooder.
Water.
Yeah, no, it's Wooder. Lions are the Ricky Fowler of golf.
Not even.
No. Ricky Fowler's at least won something in his career. Oh man,
the Lions are probably like the Chris Kirk of golf, or Chris Kirk of football. Like they had big problems, now they're getting their shit together and they're starting to win a little bit.
Chris Kirk's actually won before and after his problems. The Lions, you got to find a golfer that's never won.
Right.
Xander's finally won, so he can't. I would have said a few years ago they would be like the Xander. I don't know. I can't tell you who they are. The Lions are the Harris English of golf.
I was gonna say Will
Zalatoris. Boring team. No, they're not that boring.
Hey, we got to do our one and done picks, even though we already kind of.
I did mine. Hideki, who's your one and done?
The lead. So I'm going with the Gala for mine. So that's really no suspense.
So the thing with the guy or one and done for anybody watching K1 or anybody new, one and dones in golf are it's basically like a survivor pool for football, except we're going one on one this year. We got a beer on the line. You can only pick a golfer one time. Whatever their prize money is for that event, that's what you get point wise. Uh, he beat me week 1. He beat me last week because my guy missed the cut last week. So we're tallying it up. He's got what did you say, 120,000 point lead on me
Mhm.
so far through 2 weeks.
Which really
I
isn't
got
that much. It
Hideki.
sounds like a lot, but that's one tournament.
I know. One tournament, I can have a million. If Hideki wins this week,
Right.
I can have $1 million or $1 million point
Right.
lead by the
Or
end
my
of
guy
it.
misses the cut, you're right back in it. It's
Yeah,
like
exactly. So it's a fun little competition we're doing. And again, before we wrap this show up, I want to shout out Fantasy Golf Pod, Chad and the company over there for the work they do there. FantasyNational.com. They have massively. I've made a few jokes this week or today. They massively overhauled their website. It's still the best model making tools, and they're doing a lot of work to make their site better. They give you all the stats and information, so make sure you check them out as well. And anybody, Fantasy National, Fantasy Golf Pod, any of those guys, if you check them out or do any of their work or see any of their stuff, make sure you let them know that Fairway to Heaven, Jason and Phil sent you. 'Cause I greatly appreciate that shout out as we can. Make sure you guys hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, the follow button, the retweet button, all the buttons you can find.
listen, after
You
you
got
do
anything else?
those things, make sure you go out and you buy some Lions gear because it's probably not going to be available for too long.
Ooh, because they're going to be winning, everybody's going to be scooping it up. I'm
You're
telling
gonna
you, if I hit Hideki this week because he's in lineups, because I got a bet on him, I'll buy myself a Lion shirt with my winnings. It might be off of Temu or something like that, so it's not going to be
listen.
real Lions gear, but I'll get some Lions gear
If the
if
Lions
Hideki
go
hits.
to the Super Bowl, even if they go to the Super Bowl, I'll send you some Lions gear.
Yeah.
Even,
Thanks.
even if they're,
Good to see
God,
Mike
I
on the
love
show.
Mike.
Yeah. I miss Mike, man. Yeah. Anyway, check out Mike, guys, and if anybody else is watching, because Mike does great work with his Philadelphia Union podcast as well. He does fantastic work. K1 says he will buy a retro Barry Sanders jersey if they
Yes,
win. That's a good
that's
one.
awesome.
That's a good one right there. You got anything else left to say this week about the Farmers Insurance? You get all your
No,
stuff in this week?
yeah, I got everything in. Made 20 lineups, 22
Yep.
players, ready to go.
21 lineups now after today.
21 lineups.
Yeah, there you go. We'll be back next week with another episode Tuesday, 9 p.m. Everybody, make sure you stay tuned in. We'll be back live tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I got Bill Matz from PHLY Flyers, talking Flyers, the Red Hot Flyers, but also this really out of left field, but not news about Carter Hart. There's plenty of Eagles talk tomorrow morning, guys. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you guys next week. That's right. Go Lions. It's all grit, baby.
All grit.